Krish, you may remember back in the middle of April, Russia, having failed to take Kyiv, announced what it called the second phase of its war. It said it was going to focus its ire on the south of the country and on Donbass. In the last 48 hours, we're beginning to see those objectives crystallize in the Donbass, an enormous amount of firepower centered on Luhansk and Donetsk. In the last few hours, in a different part of the country, these pictures are coming in of an airstrike on a cultural and community centre in the Kharkiv Oblast, about 2 hours drive south or so from where we are in the city. So far, there are no reports of fatalities, but we understand that people have been injured, including children. Now, one of the reasons why the Russians can focus on other parts of the country is because they are not being distracted by what's happening in Mariupol. These pictures coming in overnight of more of the Azov brigade being bussed out of the city. They were told by their command to stop defending Mariupol and to allow the soldiers to get out. Up north in the country where we are, in the city of Kharkiv, this is a success story, of course, for the Ukrainians, but I should say that in the last hour or so, over my shoulder on the hotel balcony, we did see large plumes of smoke on the outskirts of the city. We've heard a lot of what sounds like artillery fire today. It is, though, a city trying to get back to some semblance of normality. But for the people that live here, this is what the new normal looks like. The metro station under Freedom Square, Kharkiv. When the war started and this city was being pummeled, it was home to hundreds. Next week, the trains start running again. The last of the handful of people living down here have to leave.
Меня зовут Людмила. Жительница города Харькова.
Ludmila Severodonetsk is a single mom. Her son is grown up now. Her home was completely destroyed in bombing on the 3rd of March. She miraculously survived. She's lived down here for over 2 months. This is now where she feels safest. She tells us that once upon a time she suffered from claustrophobia. Now, for her, the deeper, the better.
Сейчас наоборот. У меня все перевернулось, психика, все перевернулось наоборот. Я теперь вообще, мне наоборот, я здесь вот как в защите, я не боюсь даже еще глубже где-то спуститься.
Beside her, a friend leaving today. A subterranean sisterhood forged in war.
Да, все, пока. Счастливо, мы созвонимся, давай. Дорогая, спасибо.
Is that your friend? Is that your friend leaving now?
Она уезжает, да. Да, подруга. Мы здесь с ней познакомились. Мы с ней здесь познакомились.
Oh, you became friends while you were here in the metro.
Да,
Oh,
как сестры. Переведи. Как сестры. Как сестры стали, да.
Wow.
Вот вместе спали.
The following day, Ludmila also has to leave. Comes blinking out into the light. Bids farewell to another friend. Re-emerges into a completely altered reality. Her home is gone, and she's being offered a place in a shelter for the displaced.
Я вам скажу, что если бы я съезжала домой, вот домой именно, может быть, я по-другому себя чувствовала, потому что с теми людьми, которыми я пробыла 2 месяца, да, я бы их к себе в гости приглашала бы, мы бы все равно виделись и встречались. А так как я еду в никуда...
This is Ludmila's apartment in the neighborhood of Saltivka, on the outskirts of Kharkiv. It bore the brunt of the bombardment here. So this is Ludmila's apartment block, and as we've been talking to her, you get a real sense of the amount of affection and energy and resource that went into making her apartment a home for her. Now that home is somewhere underneath this rubble. Periodic shelling continues in this neighbourhood and further to the north. Saltivka was hit twice just today. Last week, though, the army allowed people back into some parts of it to reclaim what's left of their lives. People like Valentina.
Дітки мої аж в Німеччині, внучечка і дочечка на чужбині, я їх не дождусь. Я вже оце помру, я їх не дождусь, розумієте, який ужас. І нема в мене ні жилья. Ну, імущество якесь осталось, ну, воно мені не нужне імущество. Вивозю так, щоб вроді як я при ділі чимось зайнята, розумієте, воно мені не нужне імущество, тому що ну, в мене життя кончилась.
There was unfortunately nothing left in Ludmila's apartment to reclaim. So no point going back, really. Just forward, down the corridor of a shelter for refugees in their hometown.